other fantastic games, both in the overtime and one just absolutely dominated by Collin Sexton, who had 42 in the game.
That was ridiculous.
That was
20 straight points for the Cavs. He scored.
He was crazy. But he couldn't miss in overtime.
It was crazy. Kyrie after was like, yeah, I was smiling when he was making those shots. It's like, Kyrie, you're a bum.
I know. Who smiles when when a player is single-handedly beating your team?
Which is now it was cool to see.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It
is for us, but not for him. It shouldn't be for him. He's just like such a weird. I don't even want to call him a competitor because he's really not.
Well, it's cool to see for him because he's not the best defender in the league at all.
Well, no.
Brooklyn's
defense is just terrible.
They've been in
bad.
3 with Harden now. They've been in 3 nail biters other than the Milwaukee game. Orlando, they should have lost that game. Milwaukee came down to the wire. In this game, they lost. Like they're giving up.
Not that good.
No, they're giving up an absurd amount of points.
Yeah, 10 bench points is just not good enough either.
And it's
because
honestly,
they surrendered Prince and Allen. Those are their 2 premier defenders. Well, Jordan also, but Prince and Allen off the bench. Allen didn't
put up
like the bench.
35 or whatever combining for Cleveland last night.
And they are the 2 premier bench defenders for the Brooklyn Nets, and they shipped them off.
Mm-hmm. I mean, can you really expect 38, 37, and 21 from your trio? That's what, like 96 points between the 3? I don't think you're going to expect that every night. And even if you do, like this game was, I mean, is Cleveland really that great of a team? Like, no.
I was watching down the stretch of that game in overtime. I tuned into that game, and there were 3 straight possessions where Kyrie brought it up and just shot a mid-range J by himself. And no thought of passing it. He just brought it up and shot. And there was maybe 20 seconds left in the shot clock when he released the shot all 3 times. And then there was another possession where I forget who scored in the paint, but it was a 2-man game, KD and Harden. They're so predictable. They're so predictable because they all play the same game. Mm-hmm. And some do it. Durant does the best of those 3, but they all play the same game. They're all scorers and they're ball dominant. And I don't think that works well together. That's why I think they should get rid of Kyrie. And I don't know what they get from him, but you could get some mediocre bench volume that would help to prevent these guys from playing 40 minutes a game in regulation. It's ridiculous. So
I give up nothing for Kyrie. I would not even want the guy.
Nope.
No chance. Like I said, 3rd round pick. Of course, doesn't exist. Don't want him.
But going back to the defensive side with the Nets letting him 147, yes, it was overtime, but still 147 in any game is nuts. But 2 overtimes, that's right.
Yeah.
Still an absurd, not really absurd. It's a decent amount. 147 is a lot in any game. But I would, if I were a team game planning going into a Brooklyn Nets game, I would say to my team, just chuck 3s because their perimeter defense is terrible. It consists of James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Joe Harris. 3 probably of the worst perimeter defenders in the league. They still have a good, their interior defense is fine. DeAndre Jordan, and then Kevin Durant himself is not a terrible defender. He's a good defender.
Yeah, he's a good defender too.
He gets a lot of blocks just because of how long he is. But their perimeter defenders, their guards who defend the 3-point line are absolutely horrendous.
Yeah,
so I would just do 3-point shooting drills and game plan to chuck 3s the entire game because there is going to be little to no contest on any 3-point attempt you make.
Yeah.
So
every single time that they miss a shot, you need to get the rebound and go because they are not going to get back on defense.
No, time out.
What? Yeah, exactly. So say Kyrie misses a shot or Harden misses a shot, they're not going to go back on defense. They're just going to jog. They might pick up a man. They're not. But in reality, they're not going to. So just as soon as you get that board, you got to be out. You got to be going. And I feel like that's another way to beat this team just because of their effort. And they're so selfish. Like you see Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry working, but that's because Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are giving up things to make their team succeed. Kyrie and Harden are not going to do that.